We are back with Lindsay McCarthy. She's just getting a little drink because we are going to be talking about the Miracle Morning. She is the co-author of The Miracle Morning for Parents and Families. She's also a homeschool mama of 2. And I love that she splits her time between Pennsylvania and Colorado. So they get the best of both worlds, having 2 different locations, her and her family. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me, Maria. I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome. And I should also add that you blog over at gratefulparent.com. So tell us a little bit more. If we were to go to Grateful Parent, are there resources for parents there?
Yeah, there's a whole resource page which has different parenting books that I recommend, different children's books that I recommend, personal development books, some music on there. And then in my blog, it's kind of like a continuation of the learning I've been doing since writing the book. And in there, I also have a few blog posts that are themed Miracle Morning. So I'll choose a children's book, and then I'll give you like a creative project to do, a health service that just follows all of the steps in the Miracle Morning. So
that is so cool. And Lindsay, you have, what ages are your children?
So now they are 9 and 5. But when we kind of started doing Miracle Morning with them, they were 2 and 6.
Okay, so let's jump in. For those tuning in, I am a children's book author, and so I love having authors on here to, I think it's a really great, the reason I started writing was because I wanted a platform to share my message, and I think writing is a really great way to do that. So tell us, what is the Miracle Morning? And I mean, I think a lot of people may not know about the whole entire series. So give us a little background and let's jump into how we start our day with the Miracle Morning.
Sure. So basically, in a nutshell, the Miracle Morning is waking up before you have to in order to work on yourself and kind of start your day on your terms instead of, external factors. So as a parent, I used to wake up to my kids kind of prying my eyelids open or jumping on my head and saying, Mommy, get out of bed. And then since practicing the Miracle Morning, I started getting up before them, having a little me time in the morning so that I can be better for them and, be present for them when they start jumping on my head.
And I practice the Miracle Morning myself. And if I were to ever go back, for example, like New Year's Eve, we were up really late with the kids. And so I slept in the next day and I woke up to a child like tapping me on the shoulder. It feels different. It just feels different. I have to like get out of bed and it's their needs first versus I'm so used to, when I'm waking up a few hours before them, taking care of my needs first, which is usually a glass of water and a cup of coffee and alone time. So, so tell us a little more about how it looks in your family and what are the recommendations, kind of like the cliff notes of your book. So that way people can kind of get an idea of what it's all about and then they can dig in deeper by purchasing the book. And I'll put a link too.
For sure. So the original Miracle Morning, it follows an acronym called the Lifesavers, which stands for silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And so those are the original 6 that Hal recommended everybody do in the morning. And as we started doing that as a family, my 6-year-old turned to me and he said, Mommy, I don't get it. Why do I have to save my life every day? And so I was like, oh, buddy, you don't connect with that acronym. And I'm like, well, we don't need to call it Lifesavers. Like, what do you want to call it? So we started playing with the words in the savers and we created a new acronym for children called the CHARMS, which stands for creativity, health, affirmations, reading, meditation, and service. And the way we kind of came up with that is, at 6 and 2, my kids didn't know how to write yet. So, scribing was pretty hard for them. So I was like, well, we don't need to scribe. You can color, you can paint, you can draw, let's just get your brain working in the morning. And then for exercise, we wanted to expand on that to also include a healthy breakfast. So we called that health. Affirmations we couldn't change. I think that's so important for kids to, be telling themselves these positive messages in the morning and carry them throughout their day. Reading, again, we couldn't change reading. If your kids are too young to read on their own, I encourage you to read with them. Or we also do a lot of audiobooks.
Okay.
So, if you have a little commute in the morning, go ahead and pop in an audiobook on the ride instead of, listening to the radio or something else, or have a conversation. But and then Mike and I have been practicing meditation pretty much since our kids were born, or even before our kids were born. So when we did have children, we wanted to teach them how to meditate and be mindful in the world. So we took what we were learning with our meditation coach and started passing it on to our kids. And we would meditate with them when they were babies. And now it's kind of evolved where they lead us in meditation some mornings.
Oh, very cool.
And then service was one we just kind of added. I think as a parent, you always want your kids to be thinking about other people and not just themselves all the time, or at least we did. And so we thought, why don't we build that into their morning ritual? And so we call them family contributions instead of chores, where, Tyler will come to me in the morning and say, Mom, what can I do for service today? And I can be like, oh, I really need help with the dishes or the laundry or, vacuuming. And then so instead of me having to come and ask them to help me with these things, they're coming to me and asking, what can I do today? Which is really nice.
Really nice. Now, when I think about, and I'm just my eyes are going elsewhere because I'm trying to add the link here to your book, but when I'm thinking about the Miracle Morning for myself, and I don't follow it super strategically with the lifesavers, but it takes time. So now I know you homeschool your children, but now when my children wake up, I'm trying to think, it's usually around 7:15, and then we go to the bus stop at 8:30. Yeah. So for the charms to work effectively, how much time do you really need?
I mean, it takes us about 20 minutes in the morning, and that's give or take depending on, what we read that day, how lost they get in their creative projects. But I mean, affirmations, our kids, they follow the alphabet with their affirmations. And it literally takes them 30 seconds to say their affirmation.
That is so cool. And we have affirmation cards that we got from Etsy, but you can get them free from Pinterest. And we actually, I put them on their placemats as I'm cooking breakfast, and then they read their affirmations. Yeah,
that's so great. And, we practice something too called habit stacking. So I mean, every kid kind of already has a morning ritual. They have to get up, they have to brush their teeth, brush their hair, get their clothes on, eat breakfast. So we've kind of built their charms into things that they were already doing.
Okay.
So it's okay, we're making breakfast now. That's part of health. While we're cooking breakfast, let's do some jumping jacks and get our bodies moving too. So it's just adding these little pieces in onto things that are already doing in the morning. So when you're getting dressed in the morning, say your affirmations while you're while you're putting your clothes on.
Very cool.
So they just associate, getting dressed, I need to do my affirmations too. And online,
so it becomes habit. It becomes habit.
It does. It becomes a habit. And we have online these charms trackers, and that's what our kids used when they were first starting out. So instead of, every time they did one, they would get a little check mark off. And it looks like Kelly just asked a question. We do say our affirmations out loud, and especially with the little one, Emmy hasn't memorized hers yet, so we do kind of I say them and then she repeats them after me. So I have hers memorized.
When she says it with the alphabet, would it be A, always be kind, or is it just one word? And you do the same thing. It sounds like you do the same thing over and over. So can you share with us some of the more?
Yes. Sure. So I could just say Ember's affirmations.
Let's do it.
So they're all a positive I am statement. So it's I am awesome. I am brave. I'm creative. I'm divine. I'm excellent. I'm funny. I'm grateful. I'm helpful. I'm inquisitive. I'm joyful. I'm kind. I am light. I'm mature. I'm nice. I'm optimistic. I'm polite. I'm quick. I'm respectful.
Beautiful.
I'm strong. I'm truthful. I'm upbeat. I'm vibrant. I'm wonderful. I'm Xanadu. I'm zany. So those are embers.
That is beautiful. And just, and that's, I like that. Like the ones that we give our kids are a little bit longer. And again, they just read them, but just to send them on their way or just to be throughout the day and have that in your brain, that is amazing. Amazing. All right.
And sometimes we will kind of take a step back too, especially with Tyler, because he'll go through them so fast because he has them memorized, and we'll be like, all right, time out, buddy. You said, I am curious. What does that mean to you? And like, so to kind of continue that conversation.
Yeah. How does that look? What does that sound like?
Mm-hmm. Or how can you be that today specifically? And, get them thinking even in more terms around that word. Like, what does that mean to be curious? And
So now another thing you talked about was how to introduce your kids to personal development. And when I think personal development, I think goal setting and, being intentional about what you want. So can you share with us a little bit more about how you've incorporated personal development into the Miracle Morning?
Sure. So, I think personal development, because of the Miracle Morning, has kind of become our lifestyle. So, the charms aren't just something we do in the morning. It's kind of become bigger than that. And so we've kind of created questions around each of the charms too. And we'll ask our kids these sometimes, like, okay, if they're having a problem, like, how can we solve this creatively? Like, let's put our brains together and try to figure this out. Like, let's problem solve it. And, for health, how can we make healthy decisions? If maybe they're doing something they maybe shouldn't be doing, like Tyler likes to climb on things a lot. And I'm like, hey, buddy, is that a healthy choice? And then he's got to think about it.
And it's reminding me of, it's basically your family's values. And so we have like a value-based mission statement for our family that we constantly go back to. So when they're making a choice, we're thinking, oh, what does it mean to be a Dismondy? Oh, Dismondy's work hard. Are you working hard right now? So that's what it reminds me of. So it's not just a morning ritual. They're living it and they're breathing it.
They are, yeah. And, recently, right after New Year's, we created this little poster in our house and kind of going back to those values. And we wrote a question like, what do McCarthys do when we're at our best? And we had our kids like come in this brainstorm with us, and we wrote all these qualities down that, we do when we're at our best. So we can always go back to that paper too. If, maybe they're not making the best choice. We're like, hey, are you showing up as your best right now? And, they get to call mom and dad out on that too. So.
Exactly. And I was telling in another interview, the kids definitely call me out on being a Dismondy is also having fun. And sometimes when I'm tired and cranky and it's late, it's after 7, which is late for me. I am usually, and I have an interview at 7 tonight, watch out, but I get cranky. I do. And that's usually when we have our family time is after dinner. We play Uno, we have dance parties. And sometimes I'm a Debbie Downer and they're like, Mom, be a Dismondy. I'm like, okay, I can hang out for a half hour more. And these are quick interviews. So Lindsay, I'm going to go into your last talking point, which was the 3 Ps to parenting.
Yeah, so in the book, we talk about 3 Ps of parenting. They are purposefulness, playfulness, which we were just talking about, and perspective. And so purposefulness for us, it's going back to your family values. And what are your family values? Be really clear on that, and then live from that place. And teach your kids what your values are. And in that chapter, I kind of talk about our decision to homeschool and how we came to that decision based on our family values. And then in the playfulness chapter is actually where we introduce the charms, because we believe if you're not coming from a spirit of playfulness and it's not fun for the kids, they're not going to really grasp onto it. And they're not going to learn from it. So always to just have this playful spirit with it. And then in the perspective chapter, we kind of talk about Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, and how as parents, we kind of want to be our kids' spiritual guides on that journey, and that, live vicariously through them. And also, they're on their own journey as well. So we need to kind of give them space and freedom to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, but also be there to dust them off and pick them up.
Wonderful. And let me think, 10, 17, We've had about 23 speakers so far in 3 days, and things are being said in different ways, which is just so great to hear, that the importance of allowing our children to take risks, to make mistakes, and know that they can learn from their mistakes, and perspective taking, being able to step back and see life through our child's eyes, and values. I've had several speakers talk about family values, and are you living those values? We had a speaker talk about simplicity parenting, and if everyone is stressed out and everyone is running in 5 directions, we, Dismondys, are not living our value statement, which is to have fun. Like, that is not fun for anyone in the family, especially not fun for the parents to be driving all across town. So I love that everyone's saying it in a different way, because it really takes the Character Summit and it kind of like puts it into an umbrella. All these speakers are giving us the raindrops and the different tidbits of information, but in that umbrella of positive character, it's not just the children that we're working on with positive character. Like, we as parents also have to be models of that to bring it into the home. So this has been fantastic. And before we leave today, Lindsay, can you tell us a little bit about the free offer that you have? It's the Charms Boxcraft Instructions.
Yeah, so if you go onto the gratefulparent.com website, and at the bottom there's a little space to put in your name and your email address. And when you do that, you will get these instructions to create a charms box. So your kids can color it and, decorate it any way that they want. And then they can keep all their little Miracle Morning supplies in there. So,
cool.
Our kids can have a journal, actually the Big Life Journal. I know you interviewed Alexander.
Very cool. So you keep that in the box?
Yeah, we keep that in their box, and they do that once a week. And then they also have another journal in there where they can just free draw or free write, depending on their age. And they have the book they're currently reading, some coloring supplies, so like markers and pens and things.
And you keep the box like in the kitchen? Is that kind of your hub? Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I will tell, before we leave, I will tell parents a journal that I'm excited about the Big Life Journal, but a journal that we have consistently been using in our home. My daughters and I, my son is a little too young, he's 4, but my 6-year-old and my 8-year-old, we have a mom and me journal. And it's just a notepad. It's nothing fancy. We just, bought like literally a composition notebook at the Dollar Tree. And daughter writes to mom, I write back, and we just go back and forth. And when it's on my nightstand, I know that it's my turn to respond. And then I put it on my daughter's nightstand, and it's her turn to respond. Actually, the 8-year-old doesn't have a nightstand. She's like, I need a nightstand for my journal. I just stick it on the floor. But the thing about that is my 8-year-old will bring topics up in there that maybe she's not always comfortable talking to me about, but it's a different way to communicate. And it's not anything hard to upkeep because it doesn't happen every night. I mean, we could go like weeks without writing back, or we could go for a 5-day stretch of writing. So that's a journal that I've found that I've really enjoyed with my children. So I'm just putting that out there since we're on
That's
the topic.
a wonderful idea. I love that. I might have to start doing that with Tyler.
See? Yes, and this is the positivity in something like this is parents can get together, educators and experts can get together and share these fantastic ideas without us reading books till the cows come home and trying to figure it all out on our own.
Yeah.
So Lindsay, thank you for your time today. And I love what you have created and what you have shared with us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. You have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye.